Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News, where we get you the morning's top stories. We are keeping an eye out on Pathankot, the situation developing there. I'm Tracy Shilshi. Let's start with the headlines. Pre-dawn terror attack in Pathankot. 5 terrorists stormed the Air Force station. Operation ends with 2 of them killed in a fierce gun battle. Even-numbered cars to ply on Delhi roads today on the second day of the anti-pollution initiative in the city. 203 people were challaned on the first day for violating norms. Looking back at 2015, foreign policy challenges and how the stock markets performed. And a massive manhunt is launched in Tel Aviv after a gunman opens fire on a pub. 2 people are killed and 7 reported injured. Top story: 5 suspected Pakistani terrorists struck at the Pathankot Air Force base in Punjab in the early hours today. 2 attackers and an Indian Air Force official were killed, while 6 security personnel were injured. A defense spokesperson has said that the attack took place at 3:30 this morning. That's when it started. The terrorists were met with strong resistance from security personnel who did not allow them to enter the air base. The security forces were already on alert and anticipating an attack after some armed men were in army uniform and they abducted a superintendent of police on Thursday night. Authorities said that the helicopters and other equipment in the airbase was safe. The operation was reportedly overseen by the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. So that's the latest situation developing there at the moment, that the operation has ended. 1 Indian Air Force official was martyred, but 2 of the terrorists were neutralized. There were 5 in all, is what we are learning. Still now the situation, of course, developing there. What they do, of course, have confirmed is that the Air Force base there, which was, of course, the prime target of those terrorists, is, of course, safe. And that's the latest we're getting.
गुरुवार के दिन रात को गुरदासपुर एसपी की एसयूवी को इंटरसेप्ट किया 5 लोगों ने, जो कि आर्मी की ड्रेस में थे। उनको गाड़ी में बिठा के ले गया और उसके बाद उनको बाहर फेंका गया और एक के गले में भी उसको घायल किया गया। ये यदि मैसेज था तो ये मेरे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि अभी तक क्यों नहीं इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसियों ने क्यों नहीं घेरा डाला। ये इंडिकेशन, क्लियर कट इंडिकेशन था कि किडनैपिंग, आर्मी के जवान इस तरह से किडनैपिंग नहीं करेंगे। ये क्लियर मैसेज था।
दिस इज बीइंग कैरिड ऑन बाय द डिफेंस फोर्सेस। तो जो पुलिस है, उसने, पंजाब पुलिस है, उसने जो आउटर बाउंड्री है वहां से कॉर्डन ऑफ कर रखा है। जो ऑपरेशन चल रहा है दैट इज कैरिड आउट बाय द डिफेंस फोर्सेस। तो जो उनके पब्लिक रिलेशंस ऑफिसर हैं वो आपको उसके रिगार्डिंग प्रॉपर ब्रीफिंग देंगे। वी आर हियर, वी आर विजिलेंट, वी आर ऑन द स्टैंड बाय विद देम।
Every time there is a movement towards normalization of relationship with Pakistan, these things automatically happen because these are forces that don't want peace between India and Pakistan and also in the region. However, as far as India is concerned, we are constantly going to do our best to deal with that situation and ensure that these forces are defeated.
It's a matter of extremely serious concern. We urge upon Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to take up the matter with Pakistan. Now that in the winter season infiltration in Jammu and Kashmir is not possible on account of snowbound areas, the peaceful Punjab, where no terrorist incident have taken place for 2 decades, suddenly terrorists have started infiltrating here from Pakistan border. Will Prime Minister take up the issue with Pakistan now that he has recently visited Pakistan?
All right, for the latest situation developing there, we've in fact got Pathankot-based journalist Sukhjinder Kumar has been giving us updates since morning. Sukhjinder, क्या आप बता सकते हैं कि क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पे अभी? Is the operation definitely over now? What are you learning from the officials?
जी, इस वक्त की अगर बात करें तो इस वक्त जो है वो माहौल थोड़ा शांत है और ऐसे क्या सुझाए जा रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन खत्म हो चुका है और आतंकियों को मार गिराया जा चुका है, लेकिन ऐसी पुष्टि किसी भी अधिकारी द्वारा नहीं की जा रही है। और अगर मौके की बात करें तो मौके पर पुलिस और सीएसएफ और सेना के जवान यहाँ पे हैं और पंजाब के साथ जेएंडके की जितनी भी सीमाएं लगती हैं उनको सील कर दिया गया है। बॉर्डर जितने भी है वहाँ पर चौकसी बढ़ा दी गई है। हर एक गाड़ी को बिल्कुल बारीकी से चेक किया जा रहा है ताकि इनके और कोई साथी हो तो वो किसी और आतंकी घटना को अंजाम ना दे सके। और दूसरा सबसे बड़ी बात कि पुलिस द्वारा यहाँ पे सर्च ऑपरेशन भी चलाए जा रहे हैं ताकि कोई और आतंकी जो है वो छुपा ना बैठा हो। जी
जी सुखजिंदर, क्या आप ऑल्सो ये बता सकते हैं कि कितने सपोज सस्पेक्टेड आतंकवादी थे? वो दो तो डेफिनेटली न्यूट्रलाइज कर दिया गया है, ये ऑफिशियल से जानकारी मिल रही है, लेकिन द रिमेनिंग 3, आर वी गेटिंग एनी क्लैरिटी ऑन दैट?
जी, यहाँ पे आधिकारिक पुष्टि किसी तरह की कोई नहीं की जा रही है। गिनती के यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है कि 5 से 6 आतंकवादी थे, जिनमें से 5 को मार गिराया जा चुका है। और अगर हम कैजुअलिटी की बात करें तो 2 जवान यहाँ पे शहीद हुए हैं भारतीय एयरफोर्स के, और 6 के करीब जो है वो घायल हुए हैं। लेकिन इन सबके बीच ये सभी खबरें जो है वो सूत्रों के हवाले से आ रही हैं, लेकिन आधिकारिक पुष्टि अभी तक किसी भी अधिकारी ने नहीं की।
All right. Thank you so much, Sukhjinder, for joining us with those updates. Of course, the entire operation was overseen by the NSA, and an official report on this is, of course, still awaited. What we are confirming, though, by the reporter that we are getting is that two Air Force personnel have, of course, been martyred. That's the latest we're getting from there, but still no clarity on the number of terrorists that were neutralized. Also joining us at the moment to give us a larger perspective of what this signifies, this particular gun battle that took place, we've got retired Major General G.D. Bakshi, a defense expert, also joining us on the phone line. Mr. Bakshi, thank you so much for being here with us. What, according to you, is the significance really of this particular incident or gun battle that we saw today, just coming 6 months after Gurdaspur?
It is a major significant escalation by Pakistan in its asymmetric warfare offensive. They have targeted the Pathankot air base, which played a critical role in the 1965 and 1971 wars. It is only the alertness of our Garud commandos who has foiled this attack and prevented any outbreak of the terrorists towards the technical area where the aircraft, the jet fighters and attack helicopters are parked. And they have thereby prevented colossal damage which could have been inflicted. So we cannot take such an attack lightly, especially in the light of the fact that just 8 days before, our Prime Minister had made the most significant peace outreach to the civilian establishment in Pakistan, and he had gone there to wish him on his birthday and attend his daughter's granddaughter's wedding festivities. And this is the answer we get. Is Nawaz Sharif in control? Is Nawaz Sharif in charge? Or is it Rahil Sharif who's calling the shots and trying to sabotage whatever chances of peace we are striving for? Pakistan owes us a very major explanation. And the simple fact is that it is just the historical pattern of South Asia that is repeating itself. You know, they have, every time we have tried to have peace with Pakistan, we have got this kind of a reply. The Lahore bus ended in the Kargil conflict, and our latest outreach by our Prime Minister, his 4th attempt after taking charge, has been given this kind of a response, this outrageous response of treachery and a stab in the back.
Absolutely. In fact, sources are saying that Ajit Doval, the National Security Advisor, would be speaking to his Pakistani counterpart in a short while, to, of course, after a report comes out on what exactly took place there in Pathankot. But if you could just also highlight the fact of how Punjab is now turning out to be the next scene, the next target for these terrorists, how crucial is that?
You know, the Pakistan ISI has been attempting desperately for the past few years to revive terrorism in the Punjab. They have flooded that area with drugs, and they have flooded that area with drugs, and they are trying to utilize the riverine terrain, the riverine terrain to try and infiltrate, where the major rivers flow from India to Pakistan, Satluj, Beas, Ek Nala, Deg Nadi, etc. There are huge gaps in the fence. They are trying to utilize those gaps to infiltrate. the soft soil also permits the digging of tunnels under the fence to facilitate infiltration. And therefore, we have been observing that last year also Gurdaspur was the target and it was attacked. The infiltration was from this riverine belt in Jammu and Kashmir, the plains section of Jammu and Kashmir, as also from the Punjab.
Yes.
We will have to be very, very alert in the Punjab. This is the second major attack that has taken place there, and that too on a very highly defended target. It's not just firing on the civilians. It is
Absolutely.
an attack with a design.
Absolutely,
Designed
sir.
to inflict serious damage on the nation.
Absolutely.
It cannot be taken lying down. We cannot deal with it in a very complacent fashion. Just because our boys have been alert and they foiled this attack does not mean the gravity of this attack can be minimized.
Absolutely, sir. We're hoping to hear from the Home Minister, of course, on this particular incident. But thanks so much for joining us for the moment. We'll keep an eye out on developments there in Pathankot and, of course, what's related to it. Meanwhile, let's head on to some news that's coming in, of course, from the national capital now. Today is, of course, day 2 of the Delhi government's ambitious measure to curb pollution, the odd-even formula for private vehicles. And more than 200 people were challaned on Friday for violations in the first day of its implementation. In fact, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal did express satisfaction at the public response.
On the first day of the new year, a new beginning for Delhi. In a bid to curb rising pollution levels in the national capital, the odd-even rule for private vehicles came into force on Friday. The rule will be in place for 15 days. The drive has been more or less successful, with even-numbered cars mostly staying off the roads on Friday.
बिल्कुल सेटिस्फाइड हूँ. कहीं ना कहीं तो शुरुआत होनी थी और बिना पब्लिक के कोऑपरेशन के तो कोई भी गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी कामयाब होती भी नहीं है. So somewhere or the other, there needs to be a start. So I think it's good.
सेटिस्फाइड नहीं हूँ क्योंकि बहुतों के पास गाड़ी हैं, इवन अनइवन दोनों ही चल रही हैं. अब सीएनजी भी तो पोल्यूशन फैलाती है. ये तो नहीं कहोगे सीएनजी की कोई पोल्यूशन नहीं है, उसकी भी है. टैक्सी वालों को छूट देती उनकी भी तो है. तो स्लाइटली फर्क पड़ेगा, ज़्यादा नहीं पड़ने वाला है.
कॉन्ट्रैक्टर होने के नाते मैं एक ही गाड़ी है मेरे पास जैसे ही है, तो मेरे को सारे में जाना पड़ता है डेली. तो मैं इस गाड़ी को एक दिन छोड़ूंगा, एक दिन नहीं चलाऊंगा, तो मेरी लेबर तो साइडों पे खाली बैठी रहेगी.
However, there were some violations. While some violators were penalized with a 2,000 rupee fine, others were lectured on the need for implementing this rule. Civil defence volunteers were seen standing at traffic intersections, educating people about pollution levels and giving them flowers. The ministers also did their bit. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Health Minister Satyendra Jain and Transport Minister Gopal Rai carpooled to get to the Secretariat, while Environment Minister Imran Hussain used a battery-operated rickshaw for his commute and Tourism Minister Kapil Mishra was on his two-wheeler. The measure got a thumbs up even from the opposition.
दिल्ली के लोगों ने इसको अपना लिया है, ये मूवमेंट बन गया है और I am truly overwhelmed by the response that we have received so far. दिल्ली के लोग बहुत ज़बरदस्त लोग हैं. उन्होंने एक बहुत ही इम्पॉसिबल सा काम करके दिखाया है.
जिस तरीके से दिल्ली का प्रदूषण लगातार बढ़ता जा रहा है, उसमें ये संदेश देना बहुत जरूरी है कि प्रदूषण को रोकने के लिए जिस तरह से शम विषम योजना आई है, हालांकि योजना जल्दी में आई है, कितनी कारगर होगी मैं नहीं कह सकता, किंतु हम ये मैसेज जरूर देना चाहते हैं कि प्रदूषण, बढ़ते प्रदूषण के खिलाफ कुछ भी होता है तो हम सब लोग उसके अंदर साथ में हैं.
The Delhi police also appealed to the public for their cooperation.
मैं जनता से एक बार फिर अपील करूंगा कि आज क्या अगले 15 दिन तक जो है आप हमारी मदद करें.
Under the odd-even formula, private cars with an odd number plate can run on odd dates and those with even numbers on even dates. There are several exemptions to the rule, including emergency vehicles and single women drivers. There are no such restrictions on Sunday. Anu Devan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will leave for a 2-day visit to Karnataka today. He is scheduled to inaugurate the 103rd session of the Indian Science Congress in Mysuru. In fact, Modi will also inaugurate a new hospital of the Sri Avadut Datta Peetham of Sri Ganpati Sachidanand Swamiji. He will also take part in the centenary celebrations of the Jagat Guru of Sri Sutur Mutt. On Sunday, the Prime Minister will then inaugurate the Indian Science Congress and lay the foundation stone for a new helicopter manufacturing unit of the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited at Nittur. With that, a quick break here. Returning with more news. Stay with us.
Hello and a very warm welcome to a brand new edition of World Panorama with me, Frank Pereira.
Barack Obama has been elected on the basis that I will no longer take America into wars, and in fact quite the opposite, I will pull America out of wars.
According to the Indian government, fishermen are not at fault.
The US intervention in Iraq set the stage for exacerbation of these conflicts, and then the intervention in Syria.
Watch World Panorama at these times on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Now, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram yesterday targeted the government on its claims about the economy. He said that the actual economic growth was not more than 7.7 to 7.3%, far short of the 8.1 to 8.5% that the government had predicted last year. He also asked the 20-month-old BJP-led government where were the promised jobs and private investments. These two had been the big-ticket assurances of the BJP before the 2014 Lok Sabha polls. Chidambaram also mocked the government on the GST bill, saying that it wasn't able to accommodate the opposition's views on it. His comments came a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi criticized the Congress for disrupting parliament proceedings.
The Indian economy is like a car running on two wheels. Corporate balance sheets are stressed. Net sales have fallen by 5.3%. And profit after tax is flat. Non-food credit growth at 8.3% is the slowest in 20 years. The economy is stuck in a groove. The government has not been able to find a way to accommodate the views of the opposition and pass the GST bill. I'm afraid the government is only to blame itself and its stubborn and unbending attitude.
Now, in 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarked on an almost personal initiative to reach out to the heads of governments the world over. In over 18 months as Prime Minister, Modi made 37 foreign trips. But by the onset of 2016, the major challenge for the government is realizing those promises and implementing commitments.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi might have begun his tenure on a promising note when he invited the heads of all neighbouring countries for his oath-taking ceremony. But things are not on the right track as far as bilateral ties with these countries are concerned. Even as the focus last year was on India's Act East policy, the Prime Minister will have to give a fresh impetus to resolving issues with Maldives, Myanmar and Nepal in particular.
With Maldives, recent events point to a more intensive engagement in future. In respect of Myanmar, we are preparing for a political transition, confident that India's interests are recognized by all parties.
Whether the government says that it's the Madhisis doing the blockade and not allowing Indian goods in, or the Nepalese saying that India is doing the blockade, either way, many Nepalese civilians are suffering. Anti-Indianism is rising.
The NDA has invested a major part of its diplomatic energy in getting FDI into the country. This has been aimed at strengthening the economy and infrastructure along with the Make in India campaign. The challenge in 2016 will be to get those funds released and increasing the confidence of foreign investors.
Spreading the message of easier to do business is one of our major goals. So too is the involvement of CEOs in this effort. The results are already beginning to make themselves felt.
At the international level, reforms in the United Nations Security Council will be a major milestone for Indian foreign policy. Along with that, resolution of conflicts at the borders with China and Pakistan and creating a balance between Russia and the US in the defense sector will require very cautious initiatives. If India can meet these challenges, it will yield both in terms of trade and strategic strengthening of the country's interests.
For a successful foreign policy now, we need peace at home and administrative acumen to work efficiently and quickly. This will increase confidence among the foreign investors and also among nations of the world. Akhilesh Suman with camera person Shiv Kumar for Rajya Sabha Television in New Delhi.
Now, it's a coincidence that the year 2015 began and closed on the same day, a Thursday. And between these two Thursdays, Indian investors had a very eventful ride, especially in the stock markets. But of all the asset classes, be the mutual funds, fixed deposits, precious metals like gold, or even real estate, the stock market remained the most volatile. Take a look.
The barometer of the Indian stock market, the BSE Sensex, shot past 27,500 on the first day of the year. By the close of the year, however, it was down 5%. But back in January, it was being powered by a bull run, generated by a confidence about the clear majority and the intent of a relatively new government to revive the economy. January alone saw the BSE Sensex appreciating over 7%, hovering near the psychologically important mark of 30,000. By the second week of February, it corrected close to 5%, hitting 30,000 in March.
The kind of hope which Prime Minister Modi had given throughout his election campaign and so on and so forth was such that people had started thinking that as soon as he will come to power, and I mean more so when he came to power with BJP getting an absolute majority, was something very, very different. And now that those hopes are not getting realized.
2 weeks into April, the Sensex had gone below 29,000. But the biggest shock was yet to come. And it was not due to internal constraints. In July and August, Chinese stocks lost nearly 1/3 of their value. Two massive crashes on 24th of July and 27th August sent ripples across world markets. As Chinese authorities, struggling with weakening exports, allowed their currency to depreciate in August, fears were unleashed of a currency war. On 24th of August, world markets were shaken by the biggest crash since June 2007. Chinese stocks lost over 8% value in a single day. Trading had to be halted. The BSE Sensex suffered its biggest loss in 6 years, closing down by 1,625 points. From 19th of July to 26th of August, in just 6 trading sessions, the BSE Sensex lost over 8% of its value. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said, and I quote him now, "There is not a single domestic factor in India which has either contributed to it or added to it. These are external factors. I have not the least doubt that this turbulence is transient and temporary in nature. The markets will settle down." Unquote. On 7th of September, the Sensex reached its record low of the year to close at 24,893, having lost over 5%. Stocks started recovering in the festival of October, but declined through most of November and even in the first half of December. The silver lining, however, was that India withstood the impact of an interest hike by the US Fed that was projected to result in withdrawal of foreign investments.
We're really well cushioned on the macroeconomic side, so inflation is coming down. Our fiscal deficit situation is very good. External situation is also robust. So I think that for all these reasons, I think the impact on India should be relatively minimal. Yeah.
Volatile market. Low commodity prices forced the government to defer investment of Coal India and other public sector undertakings. The finance minister set a target of getting 69,500 crore by diluting stocks of government companies like NALCO, NMDC, Oil India Limited, NTPC, BHEL, ONGC and Coal India. But it managed to get only 12,500 crore by selling its stake in Power Finance Corp, Rural Electrification Corp and Indian Oil, amounting to just 18% of the year's target. This is Krishna Tripathi report for Rajya Sabha TV.
International news now. US President Barack Obama will meet Attorney General Loretta Lynch on Monday to discuss options for tougher gun restrictions. He's also expected to announce a new executive action to expand the background checks on gun sales. In his first weekly address of 2016, Obama said that he was using his executive powers as president because the US Congress had failed to address the problem. Gun control advocates are expecting the new actions to be revealed next week ahead of Obama's annual State of the Union address on the 12th of January. Previous efforts to introduce stricter gun control laws have repeatedly floundered despite the large number of people dying in gun attacks. A joint Democrat-Republican bill following the 2013 shooting of 20 children and 6 adults at a primary school in Connecticut failed to get the 60 votes needed to broaden background checks and ban assault weapons.
That's especially true for one piece of unfinished business: our epidemic of gun violence.
We know we can't stop every act of violence, but what if we tried to stop even one? What if Congress did something, anything, to protect our kids from gun violence? A few months ago, I directed my team at the White House to look into any new actions I can take to help reduce gun violence. And on Monday, I'll meet with our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, to discuss our options.
A massive manhunt is underway in Tel Aviv for a gunman who opened fire on a popular bar and other shops in the center of the city yesterday. 2 people were killed and 7 others injured.
Police sirens blaring in Israel's commercial capital. In a massive manhunt, roads around the site of the attack and the central bus station were sealed off. With the suspect still at large, police declined to offer a motive.
בשלב הזה אני לא יכול לתת הערכה, אנחנו גם לא עוסקים בהערכות. אני רוצה להיות יותר קרוב לוודאות, אבל בשלב הזה כל כיווני החקירה נבדקים, אין לנו ודאות כרגע, לא בהקשר הפח"עי ולא בהקשר הפלילי המובהק.
The attacker, who in video footage appeared to be dressed in black and wearing glasses, fled after opening fire on a cafe, killing 2 people. At least 7 others were injured.
הפצועים חלקם היו בתוך הפאב בפנים, 3 מהם שכבו כשהם מחוסרי הכרה, ושאר הפצועים היו על המדרכה. הם כולם קיבלו טיפול רפואי ראשוני בשטח ופונו במהירות לבתי החולים.
David Barkle, whose son Alan Barkle was killed in a shooting attack, told reporters that his son had just graduated from his 4th year in law school.
הילד מת, זה הבן שלי שנהרג, זה הבן שאני למה יצאתי לספר לכם? רציתי לספר לכם איך אנחנו מאבדים את הילדים הטובים שלנו. זה ילד שלא היה ילד רגיל.
This is the first attack in Tel Aviv since 2nd of November, when 2 people were killed in a stabbing attack in South Tel Aviv. Israel has seen a wave of Palestinian street attacks since October, fueled in part by Muslim anger over stabbed-up Jewish visits to Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque complex. There was no immediate claim by Palestinian armed groups for Friday's attack. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you all the action from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Rafael Nadal and Milos Raonic will meet in the finals of the 6-man Mubadala World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi. Both won their semi-final matches on Friday. The former world number 1 Nadal overcame fellow Spaniard David Ferrer 6-3, 6-7, 6-3 in a hard-fought encounter at the exhibition tournament. Raonic then stunned Switzerland's Stanislas Wawrinka 7-5, 7-5 to enter the final. Pace bowler James Anderson is all set to return to England's 2nd test against South Africa in Cape Town today. Anderson missed the 241-run first test win with a calf strain, but is likely to replace Chris Woakes for the match at Newlands. However, South African pace bowler Dale Steyn missed out with a shoulder injury. Steyn twice left the field during the first test in Durban and will be replaced by Kagiso Rabada. Bournemouth have signed forward Juan Iturbe on loan from Roma for the rest of the season on Friday. The Cherries will have the option to sign the 22-year-old Argentine on a permanent deal in the summer. The winger will not be available for Saturday's game against Leicester, though, as he is awaiting a European work permit. Juan joined Roma on the 5-year contract from Italian rivals Verona in July 2014 for £17.4 million. Queen's Park Rangers gifted the promotion-chasing championship side Hull City a last-minute winner in a dramatic finale of 2 late goals on Friday night. The home side seemed to have rescued a point when Sebastian Polter headed in an 86th-minute equaliser to cancel out Abel Hernandez's second-half opener. However, a mix-up between Rangers defender Grant Hall and goalkeeper Rob Green helped prove the difference as the pair collided in an attempt to clear Sam Lucas's cross, and the ball rebounded off substitute Diomande into the net. And that's all we have for you on the Breakfast News. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good day.